This is the application of self-actualization in a terminal health situation. The other day, a buddy of mine asked me about, no, not my skincare routine. He asked me how I achieved self-actualization with terminal health. Admittedly, I'd heard the term, but I didn't really know what it was. So I did a quick Google search for Maslow's hierarchy of needs and figured out what self-actualization is. Google says self-actualization is the process of realizing your full potential, which involves personal growth, creativity, and self-fulfillment, and it is the highest level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This part of it made sense to me because my whole life I've always tried to really make an effort to experience all that life offers and look into self-growth as far as developing ideas, new skills, new accomplishments. And so I didn't quite understand how being terminal would affect that general goal or practice of mine. My buddy explained something that Google did not. What he said is that your current position, let's call it here, that is your moment in time. So that's T equals present, right? Let's call it there. And that is where I am today, and I am in the mode of experiencing all life offers, developing the ideas, the accomplishments, all those things I mentioned a minute ago. So it's a matter of being happy in that present moment. The other part of self-actualization that I didn't know until he explained it is that not only is it about being happy in the present with what you're doing and being the best that you can be, it's also accepting and being confident that this point here is just a snapshot in time of your life trajectory. So your time really starts out here at 0, right? So this is, let's just call that T present, but your T at 0 here, you are on this trajectory that goes through the point now and continues on into the future. And there will be other milestones along the way. And yes, we're all terminal. We eventually all hit the point of death, correct? His question was, if I'm self-actualized, and I believe that this is the point where I'm supposed to be, where I'm happy and I'm in the present. And I also believe that I'm on this correct path where I should be, and that this is this snapshot in time of where I'm heading. The next big milestone for me is death. That's the next big thing that's going to happen. We all have different milestones. They could be graduating college, it could be getting a new job, it could be retiring, whatever it may be. But my next big one is end of life, right? So if I look at my path heading to this, and this today is a point on that path to here, how can I be happy knowing that the next milestone where my path leads is death? Then how can I feel good about being on that path? I think that the reason for the question is because the assumption or the norm is that people see death as a bad thing or a sad thing. They don't view it as just another milestone or accomplishment in life like these other points along our path. For all these normal people that would fear death or dread death, they can't see it as anything positive. And so if they see this as a bad thing instead of a good thing, well then they can't self-actualize heading toward the end of the road. I think there are only two groups of people that can really achieve self-actualization in terminal conditions. The first of those groups are religious people. And when I say religious, I mean truly faithful people. The reason I say that is because truly faithful people can look at death of loved ones or themselves as a positive, because the religious people are saying, hey, beyond that, there's this whole path of paradise that's waiting for us. And you hear this at funerals all the time. They're going to a better place. They're going to be at peace. Their suffering is over. You hear all those things that are part of the faith that once you die, you go to some other place that is better than where we are today. So they're able to actually view this as a positive. Now, this has to be the truly faithful people, not the ones that go to church once a month and they're banging hookers the other 3 weekends a month. I mean the people that really, truly believe that this is out there waiting for them. If you don't truly believe in this paradise waiting after death, then you're going to doubt it and you're going to think there's a chance this is all, this is the end of the road. And in that case, you're going to have fear or dread of death for yourself or others, just like a lot of other people that may not be religious. In fact, even truly religious and faithful people who do believe in all this might still question the time of death and is it fair and how does this fit into the plan and all the other stuff that goes with it. A question you may ask yourself at this point, which is a fair question, is would somebody truly religious actually even be concerned with self-actualization? This could be a whole lot deeper discussion, but at a high level, self-actualization can mean a lot of things. It just means being your best self in the most simple of terms. Being your best self to an executive will mean climbing that corporate ladder as high as they can, maximizing their bonus, paying for a bunch of stuff they don't really need, material goods, money in the bank, power, all those different things. That's what some may see to mean self-actualization. Because we often associate being religious with being humble and not worried about material things, you can be religious and you can self-actualize by being a good person and taking care of your family and treating other people well and just doing good things. So it's not that you can't achieve self-actualization, you just have different priorities than a materialistic executive. And that religious person can still believe that the terminal point is really just another milestone on their path to paradise. The second group of people that can achieve self-actualization in terminal conditions gets there a very different way. As opposed to the religious person that believes it's simply a milestone to an endpoint in paradise, the second group may not know or believe that there's an afterlife out here, so their vision stops at the point of death. But they're able to see a positive in it as a final milestone of life, and therefore they're able to see the current moment as a snapshot on the path to that final milestone. And that's where I find myself right now. Gott weiß, ich will kein Engel sein. This entire process has helped me personally to develop a perspective and view on things that I would never been able to achieve prior to facing death head on. At the risk of sounding a bit arrogant about it, I feel like my ability now to welcome this event with open arms represents for me the highest level of my development in terms of self-growth, awareness, and positive perspective. Make no mistake, it's not that I'm wanting to get to this point any faster than I have to. It's just that I'm accepting it. So I'm ready for it in terms of prepared, not ready like I want it to get here tomorrow. Part of it could be, in terms of the ability to accept this, is that I know I made a lot of bad choices back here in these days that caused my path to deviate from where it may have been. So let's say it could have actually been, out here somewhere in the future, but I messed all that up and I'm going this way. So I really have nobody to blame but myself in this case. And that forces me to take accountability for those actions and now suffer those consequences, but it eliminates the ability or the tendency for me to sit here and say it's not fair, because it's absolutely fair. It's deserved. It's hard for me to sit here and say that I regret those actions though, because they're part of the reason that I had this life full of experiences that I've had. And they led me to this path where I am today, and I'm happy with where that is. So they may have caused a sooner end point, but they also allowed me to live life to the fullest in this time I was given. Yes, I'm obviously taking actions every day in terms of my exercise and diet and sleep and taking care of myself to prolong this point as long as I can. Not necessarily just prolong it, but make sure that the quality of this period is maximized. So I'm not really interested in stretching this way out. I'm interested in having the most experiences and quality I can have in what's left. But I'm still accepting that yes, this is the train and these are my tracks and the train's coming. And it's not just accepting it or being at peace with it. It's the ability to actually look at the positives of the situation too. And I'm not talking about gritting your teeth saying how happy you are to go watch Celine Dion in concert with your date. I mean a genuine positive outlook on it. The first thing is I can focus on this being just a natural event that everybody goes through. It's simple consequences of actions taken, so there's nothing unfair about it or unnatural about it. There's a quote in, I think it's John Wick 4, and I swear I saw this quote somewhere before I saw the movie, but regardless of who said it first, the quote is, "A good death can only follow a good life." This quote has actually been pretty impactful for me and a reminder. And the way I interpret it is, if I had done nothing except work hard, make as much money as I could, try to keep up with the Joneses, be worried about all the material things from the $10,000 watches to the $1,000 suits to whatever, right? Yeah, okay, I like my cars and my motorcycles, I get it. But in general, I try to do what brings me real joy, not just for show. And had I just done all these empty things and wasted the rest of my time I wasn't working in front of the TV or whatever, then that would be a poor life of a whole bunch of poor choices and not really experiencing life. And so that poor life would then be followed by a poor death, because it would be more tragic in that it came before the person ever really experienced life. However, I'd like to think that my whole life was centered around making the most of it. I tried to do as many experiences as I could along the way and enjoy as much as I could that life offers, not just being alive, but truly living in the moment. And because of that, I feel like I had a good life, which means I have a good death that can follow it. It also allowed me to stop working early enough that at a relatively young retirement age, I'm still able to go out and enjoy a lot of things within the constraints of my health, of course, spend the time going to the gym, maximizing my quality of life, and really just enjoy the peace of escaping the rat race before it was too late. I can also see the benefit in having this advance notice here. That gives me more time versus if it were just a tap on the shoulder the day it happens. And with that advanced time, it's given me the ability to learn more about the whole process, gain a clearer understanding and peace with everything, but also to make preparation, clean out the house, have everything laid out for my family so that when it does happen, it's very minimal effort for them and they can focus on the grieving process. All that said, I'm able to sit here today and say that I can confidently look back and be happy with the life I've had. I do feel like where I am today is the right place. I'm happy with where I am. I'm also confident that where I am is the proper place on a path to the final milestone, the finish line, right? And that's where I'm supposed to be. And yes, I'm able to look at this with a Bodhi level of clarity and perspective and appreciate that finish line for what it really represents and all the positives behind it. It's not only a reflection of the life that I've lived, but also in what I did with the learnings throughout that and things like this YouTube, that I'm able to provide some of this insight that I've learned in this process that may help others when they reach that point. And all of this is what helps me to sit here today and be able to have achieved the highest level of what I consider positive perspective and self-actualization in a terminal state. If you haven't done so, please click the link below to subscribe, click the little bell for notifications, and let's live for today.